From Geber to the enigmatic and powerful Count Cagliostro, who transmuted lead into gold and fabricated diamonds of the best quality, there existed a long series of alchemists and investigators of the philosopher's stone, sex. Obviously, it is quite clear that only those sages who dissolved the lunar ego and despised the vanities of this world had true success in their inquiries. Among all of those victorious alchemists and adepts who worked in the laboratory of sexual alchemy, Basil Valentine, Ripley, Bacon, Hanks Roger, etc. stood out. Nicholas Flamel is still very debated. Some suppose that he did not attain the difficult goal during his life, since he refused to reveal his secret to the king. He ended his days locked up in the terrible Bastille. Frankly, we are convinced that Nicholas Flamel, the great alchemist, succeeded in transmuting all the lead of his personality into the marvelous gold of the spirit. Trevisan, the famous Trevisan, spent his entire fortune seeking the philosopher's stone and managed to discover the secret at the age of 75 years, already too late. The philosopher's stone is sex, and the secret is the Maituna, sexual magic. But the poor Trevisan, in spite of possessing a formidable intelligence, only managed to discover the secret in his old age. Paracelsus, the disciple of Trithemius, great alchemist and doctor, knew the secret of the philosopher's stone, transmuted lead into gold, and carried out surprising cures. Many suppose that Paracelsus died a violent death, by assassination or suicide, for having revealed a part of the mysteries, but the reality is that Paracelsus disappeared without anyone knowing how or why. All of us know that Paracelsus acquired that which is called the elixir of long life, and that with said marvelous elixir he still sustains himself. He lives with the same physical body that he had in the Middle Ages. Schrepfer and Lavater practiced certain two very dangerous magical rites, which caused them a violent death without having attained in-depth self-realization. The famous Dr. J.D. sought the philosopher's stone and never found it, but he was reduced to the most frightening misery. In the final years of his life, the poor doctor horribly degenerated with mediumship and became a toy of the inferior entities that live in the molecular world. Sutton was imprisoned for refusing to reveal the secret of the philosopher's stone. Dr. Pryse of the Royal Society of London succeeded in transmuting physical lead into material gold, but on wanting to repeat the experiment before his colleagues, he failed, and then, ashamed and desperate, he committed suicide. Delisle, the great Delisle, for the same reasons was imprisoned, and upon trying to escape from the horrible dungeon where he was imprisoned, was killed by the guards. All these failures and hundreds of others reveal that the true practical occultism and its terrible magical powers demand the most frightening sanctity, without which it is impossible to face the dangers of alchemy and magic. To speak of sanctity in these times is something very difficult, because the world is full of stupidly sanctimonious persons who presume to be saints. The great master of strength named Mona, conversing with us in Oriental Tibet, told us, "To become united with the inner is very difficult. Out of two who attempt to unite themselves with the inner self, merely one achieves, because, as the poet Guillermo Valencia said, among the rhythms of the verse, crime is also hidden. Crime garbs itself as a saint, martyr, apostle. Millions of persons who are fans of occultist literature presume of holiness. They do not eat meat or smoke or drink, but at home they fight with their spouse, they beat their children, fornicate, commit adultery, they do not pay their debts, they promise and do not fulfill, etc., etc., etc. In the physical world, many persons have reached absolute chastity, but when these persons are subjected to the test in the internal worlds, they then end up being frighteningly fornicating. Many are the devotees of the path who in the physical world would never drink a cup of wine, but in the internal worlds they are lost drunkards when they were subjected to the test. Many are the devotees of the path who in the physical world are humble sheep, but subjected to the test in the internal worlds, they result being tigers. Many are the devotees of the path who do not covet money, but covet psychic powers. There are many devotees of the path in the world whose humility astonishes others. They can calmly sleep on the floor at the door of a rich man and are content with the crumbs that fall from the master's table, but they are proud of possessing many virtues or boast of their humility. Many people have aspired to sanctity when they found out that authentic cases of true saints do exist. Many are those who envy the holiness of others, and due to this also want to be saints. Many individuals do not work in the dissolution of the lunar ego because of pure mental laziness. Innumerable aspirants to the light eat 3 banquets daily. They are terribly gluttonous. Many do not murmur with their lips, but they murmur with their mind, and yet they believe that they never murmur. Rare are the aspirants who know how to obey the Father who is in secret. Wanting to tell the truth, almost all students of occultism lie. They have a deceitful tongue. They affirm that they have not experienced, and that is a lie. Nowadays, it is very common to bear false witness, and many students of occultism do so without knowing that they commit a crime. Vanity also dresses in rags, and many are the aspirants who dress poorly and walk the streets in total untidiness, but vanity can also be seen through the holes of their clothes. Innumerable aspirants have not been able to abandon self-esteem. They love themselves too much, and they suffer the unutterable when someone snubs them. A multitude of aspirants are full of ill thoughts. They have not been able to control their mind, and yet they believe that they are doing very well. Innumerable pseudo-esotericists and pseudo-occultists, if they are not avaricious with money, are then avaricious with the teachings. They have not been able to transcend avarice. Thousands of aspirants carry worldliness in themselves, even when they never attend a dance or party. Many devotees of the path have not been able to abandon stealing. They steal books. They go into esoteric schools to steal something, even when it is theories, secrets. They fake loyalty while they fulfill their job of stealing, and then they do not return. Innumerable devotees say bad words. Some only pronounce them mentally, even when their lips speak sweetness. Many virtuous persons are cruel with people. We knew the case of a virtuous man who hurt with mean phrases a wretched person who composed a verse for him. The unfortunate man was hungry, and since he was a poet, he composed a verse for the virtuous man with the purpose of obtaining a coin. The response was serious. Presuming of modesty and humility, the virtuous man insulted the hungry man. A multitude of aspirants to the light are offended and cruelly humiliated by the preceptors of certain schools. Many are the persons who would be capable of everything in life except killing someone. But they kill with their ironies, with their evil actions, with wounding laughter, with a harsh word. Many are the husbands who have killed their wives with their evil actions, with their bad conduct, with their horrible jealousies, ingratitude, etc. Many are the wives who have killed their husbands with their bad character, with stupid jealousies, with their inconsiderate demands, etc., etc., etc. We should not forget that every illness has psychic causes. Insults, irony, thunderous and offensive laughter, evil words serve to cause harm, illnesses, to assassinate, etc. Many parents would have lived a little longer if their children would have allowed them. Almost all human beings are matricides, parricides, fratricides, uxoricides, etc., etc. Pity is lacking in students of occultism. They are incapable of sacrificing themselves for their fellow men who suffer and cry. There is not true charity in thousands of aspirants. They presume of being charitable, but when we call on them to struggle for a new social order, they flee terrified, or they justify themselves saying that the law of karma and evolution will resolve everything. Cruel and merciless are the aspirants to the light. They say that they love, but they do not. They preach charity, but do not practice it. The sign of Sagittarius invites us to reflect on all of this. Sagittarius is symbolized by a man who holds an arrow in one hand, half horse, half man. The horse represents the animal ego, the pluralized I garbed with its lunar bodies. The I is not something individual. The I does not have any individuality. The I is plural. The lunar ego is constituted by a sum of small I's. Each psychological defect is personified by a small I. The entirety of all of our defects is represented by the pluralized I. The most serious problem that everyone who attains the second birth has to solve is that of the dissolution of the lunar ego. The newborn master is garbed with his solar bodies, but his ego is garbed with the lunar bodies.